It is my great pleasure to introduce my friend, Ben Stuckart.
Some bright lights. You like my tie? Yeah. Linda got this for me in New Orleans last week. Good evening. Those jokes weren't written down. And I'm going to try to intersperse other jokes that aren't written down. Good evening. I want to thank Ed for his great emceeing, Matt for his prayer, and Chairman Pion for his introduction. And thanks to everybody here that worked tirelessly for the last few weeks to prepare this and volunteered all of their time. I want to thank especially Adam from my office, who keeps me sane during the day, and Jim, my campaign manager, who has been absolutely excellent. And I'd like to recognize my mother, who's here tonight. My father, who recently passed away. And the reason I want to recognize them is they're the reason that I do what I do. And finally, Anne, I love you so much, and to put up with me every day has got to be very time-consuming and frustrating. 4 years ago, I stood in front of some of you, many of you, under much different circumstances. Like so many other cities, Spokane was suffering. Our city was yearning for restored trust and a brighter day. I ran for office because I knew the time had come for our generation to stand up and guide our city into a bright new chapter. Our campaign knocked on thousands of doors and offered a basic, fundamental message: energetic leadership, a set of shared values, coupled with a willingness to compromise to move our city and all of her people forward. And let me tell you, I cannot wait to get back to doorbelling. Because after the last week, people always tell me, Ben, you have to have thick skin to do your job. The only thick skin I have is right down here. But I'm proud to say that our city is better than it was 4 years ago. Crime is down. Unemployment rate is half of what it was. Streets are getting replaced and potholes are being filled. And Riverfront Park is about to be reinvigorated with the same spirit that she had in 1974. Spokane's cultural life is thriving. Events like Terrain and authors like Jess Walter and Sharma Shields have transformed Spokane into a significant cultural hub. We created the City of Spokane's first Poet Laureate program to help bottle some of this incredible talent. And Tom Caraway is killing it in that job. Is Tom here? I mean, you heard Tom do poetry. He's absolutely wonderful. If you have a chance, read some of his poetry or go see him speak. And the city has realized that economic development is not some magic fairy that lives in Seattle. And it's realized that it's not how many big box stores you can squeeze within your borders. My economic development strategy is simple. Businesses invest in places with talent and stability. If we do our job well, the basics, water, sewer, police, firefighters, parks, and libraries, people will choose to live here, and that is the stability. We've got the talent. We've got the talent from our excellent public school systems and our institutions of higher learning. Plus, we have the quality of life that augments that long-term stability. But if we are serious about growing our city's economy, we must also be serious about valuing the workers that keep it moving. I am proud to stand with those that collectively bargain for a fair wage. I stand with those like Dwayne Cooper who are fighting for stronger worker protections like earned sick leave. Let me tell you, we hear you loud and clear. And we will work with our small business leaders to pass paid sick leave this year. Thank you, Councilmember Stratton. She stood with us on the Quality Jobs Ordinance, which included the city's first ever public works apprenticeship program. She was under immense outside pressure. It was one of Karen's first meetings, and we threw her right into the fire. I appreciate her willingness to stand up for our workers. Will you stand with us for our workers? council has also dusted off the city's sustainability plan, and we're taking action to implement the measures it has outlined. We have an obligation as leaders to recognize our changing climate as the public safety issue that it is. And every step matters. When urban beekeepers came to me to see what we could do as a city government to protect their hives, we passed a law that ended the government use of a dangerous pesticide that's been proven to harm the honeybees, and we were the second city in America to do that. Every step for the environment matters. During my term, council had the opportunity to ensure that taxpayers get the best value by passing a law requiring that the city purchase products that do not contain river-polluting PCBs. Will you stand with us to protect our river? Every step for the environment matters. This council has refused to see the city's extension of water service as simply a land use decision. It's a sustainable issue long-term with lasting impacts far beyond what we will see in our lifetimes. I want to thank Councilmembers Snyder, Munn, and Waldrop for their thoughtful work on this long-lasting decision that puts the city on equal footing with the county in regards to urban sprawl. Will you stand with us to make a better Spokane? So I'm going to just go off script real quick, because yesterday a train blew up in the East Coast. I have been leading the charge. I met with Secretary of Transportation Fox. The city of Spokane in 2013 was the first one to pass resolutions calling for the end of .111s. We have to act now with the bomb trains that are going through our community, and this council has been leading that effort. Last fall, while I was in D.C. fighting for a safer rail system, I walked over to the Longhouse office building, which houses some of the offices of our congressional leaders. There, I witnessed one of the most beautiful scenes I have ever seen. 3 priests were outside Speaker Boyner's office praying for comprehensive immigration reform, while immigrants sang songs in Spanish behind them. It was incredibly moving, and I still cannot get it out of my mind today. Back in Spokane, I wrote to Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rodgers asking her to support comprehensive immigration reform. Unfortunately, 3 months later, I received the same Dear Ben form letter that many of you have also received. So late last year, with the support of Catholic Charities and World Relief, I brought an ordinance to the council that solidified a 10-year police policy to keep members of our community from being subjected to unfair targeting and biased policing based upon immigration status. It's passed council with a supermajority. Unfortunately, this common sense approach to policing has drawn a bit of opposition from a fringe group in our community stuck in another time and in another place. They call this law a sanctuary city ordinance, and they're right. The city of Spokane must be a sanctuary for the people who for oh so long have been forced to live their lives in fear because of the failures of our congressional leaders. Will you stand with me welcoming all people to our community? The battles for humane immigration policy or any other social justice cause are not won solely in the halls of Congress or in Olympia or in the city council chambers. They're won with how we treat each other every single day. They're won by supporting the choice of who to love, how to worship, and to pledge allegiance to our flag, regardless of where a person is from or how they may have gotten here. We effect true change when we actively, collaboratively, and publicly challenge the injustices of our government systems and demand reforms based on compassion and respect for human dignity. We've been striving to make City Hall more accessible business, and that is great. If you want to build a business paying living wage jobs, I will walk hand in hand with you through whatever process it takes to make that happen. But it is also time to walk hand in hand with our friends who have seen no economic recovery, the ones seeking work, shelter, and food, the ones seeking human services. We must lend them a hand and do whatever it takes to get them back onto their feet and back into the game. I I am committed to working with the Human Rights Commission, all community groups, and you to make sure that our city remains a place where you are accepted regardless of race, religion, creed, color, sexual orientation, gender identity, or your social economic status. And with your help, we will make sure that those who need receive the wraparound services of a caring and compassionate community. There is no doubt that we are a better city than we were 3 years ago. But the job is not done. We must reaffirm our commitment to progress. We must remain resolute in our values and principles if we are to meet the goals and objectives we all share collectively for our community. So my ask is simple. I humbly ask for your vote, and I ask that you stand beside me as we tackle the challenges and embrace the good fortune of our wonderful city for the next 4 years. Thank you very much.